Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's interview, today's session with Nick. My name's James Burke, and I am an action coach. But today I've got with me Nick, who is a second stage founder. Nick's story is pretty unique. He's on his second company, and he started his first company literally in a bedroom, grew it all the way up to 45 employees 15 years later, sold that, and then started a second company, which is where Nick is today, and that's where he joins us from. So, Nick, great to have you with us.
Thank you, James. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, can't wait to learn more about your story. It's been quite an incredible story. So, I suppose that's the best place to start with. Really is not just tell us the history of your company, but tell us the history of both companies. Over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, James. And yeah, I guess my first company started in 2008 when I graduated as the president of Leeds University Law Society. And I basically had two career paths. Option one, which is the blue pill, go and be a lawyer, work in the city, and yeah, probably hate my life in the process. Or option two, yeah, the other pill, and set up an events company and see where it takes me. So naturally, I wanted the fun and the excitement. So I chose to start my first company, and that was called Invasion Events. And that was very much based on my time as the president of the Law Society, where I organized events for the Law Society. And I thought, could we commercialize this model when I graduated? And the idea was we would take students from one university city to another and invade for the purpose of a bar crawl and a nightlife, and then bust them back at the end of the evening. So we would take students from Leeds to Manchester for a night out, Manchester to Leeds, Sheffield to Leeds, Nottingham to Birmingham, that kind of model. And that went really well. And after a couple of years, we expanded to doing trips abroad. So we did our first trip to Amsterdam, and we took our first busload of 50 students. And that would then provide the foundation for what would over several years become several thousand students across numerous European destinations. So we also expanded to other areas like Prague, Berlin, Budapest, all over Europe. So it was great to see. Also in 2010, we launched another brand called AmeriCamp, which was very much like Camp America. We were aiming to send students to go work at summer camps in America, and that proved to be really successful. And the way I refer to it is Camp America is like the Coke of the industry. We were the Pepsi. And we managed to gain traction, and over time grew to sending over 1,000 students to camps in the US. And then over several years, we would expand that to Camp Thailand. Then we created Camp Bali. Then we created Camp Maldives and Camp South Africa. And yeah, so also in 2015, we bought an amazing empty warehouse and converted it into one of the UK's coolest offices, which was great. And we got so much media attention. It was amazing. This was pre-COVID when people were in the office 5 days a week. So yeah, it made a huge difference to our culture, team morale. People felt very safe. It was a very creative space. And we did a lot of amazing things. And being a travel company, unfortunately, COVID got in the way. And yeah, I'm an optimist by nature. And I remember when it first happened, I told everyone, guys, we're closing the office. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Some kind of virus going around, and nothing to worry about. And yeah, little did we know it'd become, we went 2 years without sending people away, which was pretty brutal for us in the travel industry, but we survived it. And in order to survive, we had to take investment for the first time. And we were acquired by an American company where they bought 90% of the company. I retained 10%. I worked with them for a year and a half. I realized I'm just a middle manager now. I've lost the buzz of being an entrepreneur, the freedom, and the ability to make decisions on a whim and gut instinct, and backing yourself. And ultimately, someone else was making the decisions. So I took the decision to leave in March this year. And from the payout, I could have gone chilled in a nice desert island somewhere with a cocktail in hand. But I thought, you know what, again, this is not a life I want. I love being driven by purpose. And yeah, I literally left Invasion one day. The next day I was working full time on my next startup, which was called Wellnergy. Wellnergy was an idea I came up with in January 2020, so pre-pandemic. And the idea was we wanted to make wellness more accessible. And then by default, that happened through COVID. And yeah, we were at our first event in June 17th of this year, 2023, and we had just under 2,000 people attend, and the feedback was incredible. Some of the people that came to us, one of the best festivals of their lives. People felt connected again. They just found it an amazing event, and an event that had not been done before, and very much on point in the post-COVID world. So yeah, that's my little intro into the two companies.
Wow. So growth in both of the companies, really impressive, really fast. And there's a lot of people that start out in the bedroom, right? But not that many that make it to 45 employees, scaling as you did. And then actually, I mean, the percentage of businesses that actually even sell in the end is devastatingly low. So
100%. Yeah, we were very lucky to even get acquired during COVID. There's a lot of travel companies that didn't make it. For those of you that remember STA Travel, for example, they were one of the first to go. And yeah, a lot of travel companies did not survive. And how could they? It was, furlough didn't really help the travel industry when your main expense is marketing and salaries, and then you're making sales, and then all those sales get canceled. You have to refund everyone. Um, it was pretty tough on the whole industry.
yeah, I imagine so. So with it, yeah, so particularly tough in your industry, but like I said, even most SMEs just don't sell. They end up folding the company,
Yeah,
passing it down to the
yeah,
poor kids. The kids get to take
yeah.
the headache of the small business.
Yeah. But you know what,
So
James, throughout the whole time, I always thought, and it's something my business partner said was, I always remain calm. I always told him, look, don't worry, things will work out. And he said to me a couple of months ago, Nick, you know what, you were right. And for him, he was in a, and most people were in a terrible place. But I don't know what it is, if it's just the founder's instinct, or not, on business naivety, or the eternal optimism, or law of attraction, however you label it. But in my head, things are always going to work out. And I was always saying to people, hard times create hard people, and we build resilience in the process. And yeah, for those of you, or those of us that do survive, we definitely come out stronger on the other side.
yeah, absolutely. So straight out of the travel industry during COVID into the events industry, which was also hit really hard. But I want to take us back a little bit. What do you attribute the growth to of both companies actually? Because to sell out an event 2,000 people strong is a big deal in your first event. But also, back when you was in the travel industry, that growth was terrific way before COVID. So what do you attribute that growth to?
Well, thank you, James, for the kind words. And there are definitely parallels for me. Even though I'm running a startup again, I feel like I'm doing it with a 15-year head start, which is really interesting. And I feel like I've learned all the lessons, or most of the startup lessons at the beginning. That's definitely given us an advantage. I mean, there's always lessons to be learned. We never stop learning, but I feel like the ones that you learn at the beginning of the journey, I'm not that at that point. And how to grow teams, scale teams. I've done it before, so I'll use that to give us a slight advantage. But yeah, in terms of what led to growth, and ultimately, the way I look at it, there's a few lines along the production line. First of all, you've got to have a brand name that people buy into and connotates and believe in. So for us, we always had brand names that did what they said on the tin. So straight away, the customer could understand, oh, this is what it is. And then once you have a brand name, and again, in terms of creating a brand name, there's a whole, you got to be creative, you got to brainstorm, you got to discuss it with people, you got to shape it out. It doesn't, again, sometimes it comes to you straight away. Other times it takes a bit of development time. But once you have a brand name, it all comes down to the marketing, and you need to get people to know about the brand. And, otherwise, how can people buy into a brand that they don't know about? So that's where it's really important that the marketing channels are really effective. And for me, that's one of the things, because again, you asked me as a kid, I was going to run a travel company. I'd be like, how? I'm going to go study law. But we were fortunate in the sense of, when I graduated in 2008, that was the heyday of Facebook, and it was very easy to reach people and advertise to them, and get the word out. And this is pre-days now where you put money into ads. We would create groups, invite people to the group, so we would build communities, and then we could message them at the click of a button. And yeah, and also as well, influencer marketing is very important. You've got to find people with followings, because if you get them along, they'll spread the word, they'll bring their people. So with our festival, we had names like Dr. Alex George there, Maud Hurst, Grace Beverly. Yeah, we had names and a lineup that people wanted to buy into. And it was challenging because the event had never happened before, and it's almost like, is this real, is it not? Whereas for next year, we have amazing content, we've got an amazing promo video, and some of the people that came to said this reminds them of a London Burning Man, which was amazing feedback. And from our side, we wanted to put an event that was inspirational to people, talked about a lot of issues in life without judgment and people from their own experience. And I think ultimately that's how we learn is, it's not about who's the tough person. It's who's, how do we share our journeys and use that to help inspire ourselves and also inspire others as well. I'm a firm believer that either we win or we learn. And if we win, we get it right, on to the next one. If we learn, it didn't go the way we anticipated. But yeah, we'll become stronger in the process for that.
Absolutely, yeah. So when it comes to the product and the service, there's again a lot of SMEs truly believe I've got a really strong product or service, but they struggle to put it in front of the right people and as many people as they want. In terms of the events, how have you took this product that's a strong product, especially with the lineup, but the lineup doesn't sell itself? So what vehicles and strategies did you use to get that lineup in front of so many people, to get 2,000 people sat in front of
Yeah.
you?
So we invested into ads, and ads got the word out and it helped reach an audience that we were trying to target. Equally, the names of the people we got involved, because on the day we had 5 different tents and 2 stages. So there were always activities running, and the people coming, they would tell other people about it. And equally, we invested in some PR as well. And as a result of that, we got some amazing testimonials. We were featured in numerous, like Hello Magazine, so it was one of the best festivals 2023. We were featured in Cosmopolitan, the Daily Mail, the Daily Express, and the Metro. So to get, and again, this is all before the event is even run. So to get all this amazing press and plaudits, again, it gets people talking. And yeah, also as well, we did a lot of work with the local community. It's very important that we get them involved. And yeah, so I'd say that those were the main avenues. Also, we had different traders in the wellness industry that wanted to come and exhibit and get their brand in front of people who had a keenness in wellness. And yeah, and it was amazing, the response. We had people come on their own who they wanted to be a part of the day, and that was amazing to see. It was family friendly, so people came with their families. We were
Wow.
also the first festival in the UK to be neuro inclusive, where we had a neuro inclusive safe space. And again, we channeled that in a really positive, non-judgmental way, and we got so much amazing feedback from that. And yeah, and that's definitely something that we want to continue to grow. And yeah, and also building a network of brand ambassadors, getting them excited about the event, talking about the event. And yeah, so I'd say it's telling as many people as you can about it, why we're different. It's a wellness festival outdoors. And as well, you look at the word wellness before COVID, it's a very different word to the word wellness post-COVID. So we're also appealing to that demographic as well.
And what would you say your biggest challenge is in the business right now as you look to grow?
The biggest challenge right now is, yeah, we have so many opportunities. There's people saying we should do this, we should do that. It's making sure that we don't grow too quickly and spread ourselves too thin. So, being a wellness festival, we've got ambitions to want to grow into other areas of the wellness industry. For example, a lot of people said that we should create an app so we can appeal to people throughout the whole year. It's great. But equally, if I put a lot of my time into coding and development, that's time spent not growing the festival. Likewise, somebody else said we could diversify into wellness products, wellness retreats, which is all great, but I think grow the right way first. And festivals, again, as a rule of thumb, don't usually make a profit in year one. It's it's a 3-year cycle in order to be positive revenue generating. Year one is a loss maker. Year 2 is where you recover the losses and hit break even again. Then year 3 is actually the year that you make a profit.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So what would you say then, with so much success, what would you say is your biggest challenge in the whole business? What would you say is the one thing that you're looking forward 5 years and thinking, this could be the one thing, this could be the one challenge?
I'd say my time. Right now, I'm working on the business 6 days a week. Yeah, probably 12-hour days. That's not sustainable. I'm doing it because it's a bit like a baby. If you have a baby for the first time, I haven't, but from friends have told me you need to give the baby a lot of time. You can have late nights. It's going to wake you up. It's going to be crying. You need to look after it. And that time is very important. The same with a startup, and they say business is like a baby. It genuinely really is. And you got to put the time in because, for me, I want to give it everything and really push it and achieve the potential that it can. And as we grow, it's about bringing on more people, becoming a bigger organization, again, training the team the right way. So, because again, everyone always makes mistakes when they first come in because they're learning. And a lot of people expect people to understand things straight away. And there's always an adjustment process. So it's equally as well as we grow, making sure that we bring the right people on board who have the right values and want to help us grow and in line with the company.
Incredible story. I've really enjoyed our time together, Nick. If our viewers want to get in touch with you, if they want to come along to one of the wellness festivals, how do they get in touch? What's the best place? Where's the best place for them to go?
Yeah, amazing. Well, thank you, James, for the kind words. Genuinely really appreciate it. In terms of how your listeners can find out about Wellnergy, so our website is wellnergy.co.uk. So that's WELLNERGY.co.uk. And also, we're on Instagram at Wellnergy as well. We post a lot of updates on there. And we're soon going to be kickstarting our TikTok channel as well, which is also at Wellnergy. So the brand, it represents fun, positive, inclusiveness, meeting new people. Community is very important for us. We want to grow that wellness community. And so if people want to get in touch with the brand, absolutely it'd be great to hear from them.
Incredible. Nick, thank you so much for taking the time to share your learnings about running multiple businesses with our viewers. I think they're going to have a lot of benefit from today's session. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you, James. Really appreciate it. Thank you for having me.